Anyways, you know, like I started to mess with the wiring in the car, and I was trying to make the wiring better, and then I made it worse. Or like, of course, you're a teenager, you want to listen to music, so a stock AM radio ain't gonna help you, especially if it didn't work at the time. So then I started, you know, I added like a sound system. I put a Sony stereo in the glove box. You know, I wired in some like speakers in the kick panels. Heck, even for the longest time, I just ran a speaker up on the dash, you know, like a Bluetooth speaker. I just started to add to the car. I started to make it mine, you know? And, oh man, it was fun. It really was. It was a great time, and then all of that ended. August of 2020. I'm taking a right-hand drive, or a right-hand turn at an intersection. Go halfway through the turn, throttle gets stuck. And I mean pin stuck, like full throttle. Car swerves the butt end out, swerves it back in. It's fully lost traction, then it grabs traction. And when it grabs traction, I'm pointed directly at oncoming traffic. And the car just floors it into oncoming traffic, and I destroy the front right corner of the car. Destroy the fender, bend the door a little bit, absolutely mangled the suspension. Car was done. And I remember literally sobbing because this car was my everything. This car was me. I was this car. It's hard to explain if you've never owned a classic car, but it becomes you. You are an extension of the vehicle. The vehicle is running and driving because of you. It looks the way it does because of you, you know? And now it's wrecked because of you. And it really hits you. And I remember thinking, it's done. Car's over. I can't fix this. I have no way to fix this. It's ruined. And it was at that point that I broke. Like, I remember just sobbing for like a couple of days afterwards because it just hurt, you know? Watching your car get loaded up on that tow truck ramp and just driving away, you know? Now, mind you, everybody in the vehicle was safe. It was me and our buddy Greg. We were going out for a test drive because, you know, we had just fixed the oil pressure problem. So we're like, all right, let's go drive the car around. And I thought it was just going to be a simple, quick drive, and nope. Greg was thankfully okay. I was okay too. Thankfully, it was a low-speed crash, so there was no actual injury to anybody. I hit I think 96 Honda CR-V. Dude was able to drive his car away. He was totally fine. You know, just minor damage to the car. But my car, being a non-crumple zone car from 1962, buckled the front fender. The driver's wheel was like this. The passenger wheel was like this. You know, it was doing the whole Lightning McQueen ka-chow. It was freaking bad. And it was pretty sucky, I'll be completely honest. And it actually, it's funny how you look back on things, because I remember that still being the worst day of me ever owning this car, right? But you look back at it now, it's 2022, the end of 2022, and it's actually the best thing that could have ever happened to this car. Let me explain. Insurance called the car total loss. Because it's insurance, this is a classic car, they don't merge well. Classic cars don't have a lot of value to insurance unless you go through the right insurance. Called it total loss. They were going to bend me over and give me like $1,500 or something for the car, right? We go through Haggerty Insurance. Shout out to Haggerty, thank you for that. And Haggerty valued my car, I think, at around $8,900, which is shocking because it's hard to get a classic car to be valued that much through insurance. They valued my car at $8,900. Insurance claimed total loss. They said that they are not going to pay somebody to fix it. They're going to give me part of the value of the car to fix it instead. And I thought, okay, cool. They're getting me part of the value. What are they going to do? Give me a $1,000 to fix the car? Like, I wasn't holding out much hope, right? And then my mom, I think she called me. Yeah, I think I remember the phone call. They ended up giving me right around $6,000 for the car. Now, mind you, at this time, we had 3 Novas at the house. We had a 63 4-door Nova. Now, I don't know how much you know about Chevy Novas. The front clips are pretty much interchangeable from 62 to 64. Yeah, there's different chrome holes and stuff, but they're relatively interchangeable. So I had a parts cart. So for absolutely no money, I completely repaired the front end of my car, new fender, new from the other 63, fixed the suspension pieces, put a new wheel on because I had a spare wheel from the 63, and I had the car back together. in like a matter of a couple days. So then what I looked at is I have $6,000 to do whatever I want with the car. I just fixed it for free. I now have $6,000 to fix the car however I want. And that proceeded to be what eventually led the car to be sitting here right now. Is I wrecked it, I got the money, and then I started buying parts for it. Because that $6,000 wasn't going anywhere else except for the car. I bought a Mustang 2 IFS front suspension kit, 2-inch drop spindles, airbags, high ratio rack and pinion steering, front disc conversion, rear drums, brake master cylinder, brake booster. I mean, just the whole 9 yards for the front end of the car. And then with that money later down the road, I bought a new rear end for the car too. Not new, it's out of a 65 Nova, but it's a 5 lug, whereas the 62 Novas are a 4 lug. And with the new disc brake front end, it's 5 lug, so I had to change out the rear end. Anyways, and I bought all this stuff for the car, and it ended up being the saving grace for the car. Because, well, yes, those parts sat for a while, and I'm still not done putting them on the car. What proceeded was me being a little bit more careful with the car now. Yeah, it sucks. The car was all original paint. It looked great. I mean, when I got the car, it had a crumple in the rear quarter panel. That's just how I got the car. But now it's got a weird brown fender on the front right corner. And that did kind of break my heart a little bit because the paint was gorgeous on the driver or passenger side. The passenger side was literally flawless. So now there's not really a good side of the car. There's just an all right side of the car. But it's whatever. You got to deal with the consequences of what happens with certain things. Doesn't matter. I remember thinking, I have all this money now. What am I going to do with it? Me and my dad sat down. We called up a guy who sells these independent front suspension kits. Got it all sorted out, and I think it ended up being just a little over $2,000. Bought it and shipped it on a pallet all the way here. It sat in the garage for a little while. I only started building it the end of 2021 because at the time it was still my only car, and so I couldn't take the car apart because it was my only transportation. Now, there's a lot more to the story of this car than what I've told you. I mean, literally years worth of information. But I'm just going over kind of the highlights of the life of the car. You know, I'll put more pictures in towards the end of the video too, so you guys can see that. And I'll share some videos of the car running in its prime, how it sounded. It had a really nice heavy cam idle. Choppy idle. Car was just, it was my baby, you know. I drove it to high school. I drove it my entire year of my entire senior year, which was my proudest moment. I took my senior pictures with the car. Like, it literally became me. People knew me at school for this car. People knew me around where I lived for the car. All of that kind of stuff. And then I think it was in July or June of 2021. My parents have been looking for a new vehicle for me because I love this car, but 9 to 10 miles to the gallon doesn't suffice, especially when you're running out of gas constantly breaking down. You need reliable transportation at a certain point. So as much as it hurt me, I had to give up on this old girl for now, and I had to put her away in storage to keep her safe. So I put her in the garage. Parents got me information on this truck that was for sale nearby. I worked on paying off the truck, still paying it off. Parents put the down payment for me. I paid off the down payment. The truck became my daily. But again, as much as it sucked not being able to drive this car anymore, it again saved the car. Because what that meant is now that I have a daily vehicle, I can put this thing in the shop that we're in now and start fully tearing it down. Now I have a few images of that I will show you. I have a GIF that I had created when I started tearing down the car. I started by tearing down the entire front clip of the car. I took out the motor, the trans, I tore the entire front clip off, and since then I have done a ridiculous amount of work. I've put the front clip on, I've welded the cross member in, I've had to cut, weld, and measure all of that. I have done a lot of interior work. I've rewired pretty much the entire car. I've fixed all the wiring in the car. I've added a few odds and ends that I wanted in the car. Like originally they only have one dome light. Well, it's a station wagon. You want light over the cargo area. So then I added a second dome light over the cargo area. Stuff like that. Just as the car sat here in the shop, when I had nothing better to do with my time, I started to make it more of my car. You know? I started to do the little odds and ends here or there that I never got around to doing because I was too busy driving the car all the time. And what that led to was the most abundant amount of progress that I've ever gotten done on a car. Like even just small details. I fixed the horns. You know, the horns haven't worked since like I got the car, but I fixed the horn and the horn works now. Why would I do that? Because I had random and spare time to do it. I had no other reason to except just because I was bored, you know? With the car sitting here, I got to do a lot more teeny tiny little detail work. Like the under dash wiring, it was fine, to be honest. A little sketchy here or there, but it was fine. But I could make it better, and so I did. I went through all of the wiring, checked all the connections, cleaned the connections, checked the fuse block. I mean, I went through everything on this car to make it better. And that kind of brings me to where we are now. The car's still sitting here. I have a few issues with the front end. I'm not going to call out anybody directly, aggressively. But if you are looking to buy a front end kit, like a Mustang 2-style front end kit, don't go with Helix. Helix is a cheap option, yes. But you get what you pay for. I got a Helix kit for my car, and there's a few issues. I'm just going to say that. The ball joints are terrible. I got one of the ball joints with the kit, and the ball joint from the supplier, is broken. And because it's a Helix brand stuff, it's proprietary. Meaning that you can't just swap out the ball joint with a ball joint from O'Reilly's. The control arm is drilled specifically for a Helix only brand ball joint. So I have issues like that. That's why the car's front end hasn't been finished, because I'm dealing with the consequences of buying a cheap front end kit, which sucks. But not gonna get into that. I'm dealing with the consequences of that now too. So where is the car now? What's the plan with the car? Where are we sitting with the car? Well, I just tore apart the motor the other night because, like I said, it had been having a horrific rod knock that I just had to pretend it wasn't there. Well, the rod knock on cylinder number 8 was so bad so that it wore the cylinder wall away, all the way top, all the way bottom. There was so much play in the rod on the crankshaft that it was going up higher than it was supposed to and actually smashing the spark plug and going lower than it was supposed to. So that was fun to come and find out that I need to get the whole motor rebored over, and then I need new pistons and so on and so forth. Is it worth rebuilding that 350 at that point? When I have, guess what, the original 283 that I pulled out of the car. So I think for now, the next progress update that you guys are really going to see on this is I'm going to finish up some odds and ends on the front end, do some research, find some parts, figure out how to fix the front end. And really the next major thing you guys are going to see on this car is most likely me stripping down the rest of the 350, checking out the full damage report on it, and then starting to build the 283 as the money comes in. You know, that's kind of where we sit with the car for now. Now, I probably missed a lot of information that I could share with you guys, but I'm cold. The heater's been going full blast, and I'm still not warm. It's cold in the shop. I don't know if you can see my breath, but it's cold in here. And I like to go inside and have some dinner. So, that's kind of the story so far with the car. I mean, that's about as far as I can tell you with everything. There's a lot more I could go over that you're probably going to hear about later on. Maybe while I'm working on the car, I'll tell you some more history about it that I know of, but that's kind of where I stand with the car for now. Expect here soon to see a video on my dad's car. I'll do a same story style video just like this with my dad's car. Same with our 56 Buick Century, same with our 58 Pontiac Chieftain, and same with our 63 Rambler American 330. So, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have a good one. Hope you like, subscribe, and enjoy the video. I'll see you next time.